I'm Karen Bosick with Eye on Sun Valley. You know, fall in the Wood River Valley means one thing, the trailing of the sheep. And the trailing of the Sheep Festival brings the Sheepdog Trials. That means some of the best sheepdogs in the country, Bud, Hank, Libby, Ruby, come to try to pen some of the feistiest sheep in the country.
I'm Kelly Ware, and I've actually been trialing dogs for about 15 years, and that's really thought to be a newcomer by sheepdog standards. Most of the people that you see running here today and owning dogs have been doing it for 40 or 50 years. I mean, they come from sheepdog families, and they've been raising dogs and doing competitions, and so this really is a high-end trial. It offers some of the biggest prize money in the West. And so a lot of these people here are professionals, meaning this is how they make their living. They give lessons, they train dogs, they birth puppies. They are the core of the industry. The festival itself, we know, is third biggest in the West, and the trials is a big part of that, right? So the PV, the flat top ranch that supplies the sheep, they've been in the area since the dawn of time. I mean, Corey, who is now running the sheep operation, is like a fifth generation sheep herder, okay? The trials itself has been going on for 21 years, the festival for 25 years. So this is really an institution here in the Wood River Valley. One of the nice things that the trial committee and also the festival committee does is they produce a little booklet over there, and it looks like the sponsor that you're going to talk to has got one, and it explains the course. It explains what the dogs do, and the interesting part of dog trialing is this really developed from two farmers who went, my dog's better than yours, right? And so they stuck a time to it, and they do all the elements that you would actually use firsthand on the ranch. So first of all, that outrun is how you'd bring your sheep in from the field if you were bringing them into the barn at night. That lift and that fetch is how your dog introduces himself to sheep and how he brings the sheep to you. The drives, of course, would simulate moving them from field to field on the ranch. You'll see a sort in the middle of the arena, and that sort is what you do as a farmer if you needed to trim hooves, or if you needed to give shots, or if you wanted to separate ewes from wethers, rams from rams, whatever. And then the last thing, the pen, obviously, we do have to do that on the ranch all the time. So all the elements of a sheepdog trial are things that you would do normally in your day-to-day operations on the ranch.
I'm Libby Harper. I'm from West Bountiful, Utah. This is my dog Raven. She's 7 years old. I've had her since a puppy. I trained her, and she is a pretty amazing little working dog. She's kind of fast and flanky, and I like that in a dog. Some people don't like them, you know, as quick and fast as Raven is, but she and I get along really well. So I got into this, I started helping a rancher with his lambs that didn't have any moms, and we'd go out and chase a sheep on foot, and I decided it'd be a lot funner to have a dog do it, so I got a dog, trained it, and then I wanted to see how well it was trained, so then I started trialing to see if I had done a good job with my dog, and I got hooked, and I've been doing it for probably, I don't know, 25 years, I suppose. To train a dog, you'll pick a puppy from dogs that you like, the way they work, or how successful they've been, and then I'll start like Raven. I'll start her when she's maybe 10 months old. I might put her on sheep just a couple times before that, just to see what she does. But about 10 months old, once she's emotionally mature, then you'll start to train them, and it's quite a bit of work. I mean, you have to be pretty dedicated if you want to do this sport. You got to have sheep, you got to have a place, you have to have a good dog. Not all dogs turn out to be really good trial dogs. Some dogs are, good ranch dogs. Some dogs are maybe just pets. You get the best breeding that you can get, and you hope for the best. So Raven, when I first start training her, I might train her maybe 3 times a week, and then gradually as she gets more and more confident, a little training on her, then she'll start training every day. Once I feel that she's, you know, somewhat trained up enough that I think that she can compete in a trial, there's a class called the nursery trial. And so she would run in the nursery trial, dogs that are 2 and under. And so the baby dogs. And so you'll take her out and see how she does. If she does good, then you start moving her up to the higher classes until you end up at the top class and run with the big dogs. So Raven's running with the big dogs now. To train her to run in a trial, the outrun where she goes out and picks up the sheep, that's instinct. She's a heading dog, so she wants to go out around them, pick them up, and she wants to bring them back to you. The driving, taking them and pushing them through the panels, shedding them in the shedding ring where you separate them, and then putting them in the pen. That's all, I train that. I teach her to drive, and so I direct her where to go, on what path to take, so that she pushes the sheep through the panels. When we shed, that's she and I working together as a team. She takes her side, I take my side, and we kind of pinch the sheep in between us, get them to line out, and separate them in the pen. I take my spot, which is holding on to the rope on the gate, and Raven helps me hold them in the mouth of the pen, and we hopefully ease them into the pen and get the gate shut. The whistle's used just like verbal commands. So I tell Raven, come by and away, which is left and right. I tell her to lie down. I tell her to walk up. I tell her to look back. She's got a number of commands, and all of those commands, just the same way we train a dog to lie down. We tell it to lie down. Good dog. Once we get them to where they'll lie down, then we add whatever whistle we want that's going to be the lie down. We add that, so we'll say lie down, blow whatever lie down whistle it's going to be, and she starts to then associate the word and the whistle. So the whistle we use a lot because we're working at big distances. We're working anywhere from 300 to 900 yards, so a long way out. And we wouldn't have many spectators if we were out there screaming at 900 yards. It can be kind of annoying. So we use the whistle, and the whistle doesn't have a lot of, it takes away the emotion of our voice. And so the dogs respond better to the whistle, not only because we can project it so far, but we also take the emotion out of it, and it just becomes a command.
Hi, my name's Marley, and I've been coming here to the Sheepdog Trials for about 9 years, and it's the highlight of my fall. I just love it. And one year there was an experienced border collie that ran the sheep up against the fence, and the sheep jumped the fence and ended up in the crowd, and I think that was my best memory. Sometimes it's the inexperienced dogs that are more fun to watch than the experienced dogs. There's a gentleman who competed earlier today, and he told me his dog has a very strong border collie eye, which means it stares very strongly at the sheep. And he said with these sheep that have been wild for so long, it's a disadvantage instead of an advantage, because the sheep want to fight back. I think seeing a dog of this kind of intelligence basically just blows your mind, to see how a dog can take directions from a whistle and do what the handler wants him to do without really understanding why. It's amazing. These dogs are incredible. These are not just your average pet dog. These are really smart dogs, and I think that's the love of watching this. Mm-hmm.
I'm John Lundeen. I split my time between Seattle and Ketchum, Idaho. And I have to say that this is a wonderful weekend. The Trailing the Sheep weekend is a very special one. And the Sheepdog Trials are the best part of the weekend, I think. My family moved here to Bellevue, Idaho in 1881, and we had a sheep ranch in the late 1800s and early 1900s, so this is part of my personal history. And I love seeing dogs work. It is so exciting out there because they love it. This is their element, this is what they're bred and trained for, and it's truly exciting to see them work with the sheep. Sponsoring a dog makes it more exciting. You have a personal stake in a competition. We always show up around the time that our dog is running and competing, and we get our picture taken with the dog and the handler afterwards, so we have a permanent memento. This year it's interesting because for the first time you could sponsor a sheep. Perhaps a little less exciting than having a dog, but it's again a way to raise money for the festival. There are sheepdog trials all over the country, at least in the West. We have a number outside of Seattle on Bainbridge Island, Vashon Island, eastern Washington, but they're totally different. There, the sheep are domesticated. They're raised in a pen. They're used to dealing with dogs and people. And so they're very docile and easy to handle for the dogs. These are tough, demanding sheep. These guys have been up all summer in the mountains around Sun Valley and up over Galena Pass. They're not used to the dogs beyond the ones that are with their group, and they don't want to be told where to go. So this is by far the toughest sheepdog competition, I think, in the country because of the sheep they're dealing with. And it's so exciting to see the dogs meeting a new challenge. Most of them have never worked with sheep this ornery before. So you see a learning process in the sheepdog as he works through the competition. But it's a great festival, and I'd urge everyone to come next year and participate and sponsor a sheepdog or a sheep.